Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. So the issue of taqleed, ijtihad, madhahib, and this kind of a discussion, does a person need to follow a particular madhab? Who needs to follow it? Is it bid'ah to follow it? Is it shirk to follow it? What is a madhab? Like, that's something you need to understand. The first thing is, what is a madhab? Madhab comes from dhahaba, the root word, which means to go. Madhab is the path that you go on, so it means a path or a way. They have a way to what? In the Shari'i istalah, madhab was used to mean a way to get to the sunnah. So why did you need a way to get to the sunnah? So for this you have to go back into tariq a little bit. Basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and with the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the hikmah of the sunnah, the wahi, which is the ahadith that are recorded. Sunnah is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to the istalah of the people of hadith, what Rasulullah did, said, or approved of. How do you know what sunnah? How do you know something? Like if you say it's sunnah to do this, how do you know? Through hadith. Hadith is that documentation of the sunnah. So if anybody rejects hadith, they reject the sunnah. If anybody rejects the sunnah, they reject hadith. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these two forms of wahi, the Quran and the sunnah, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when the Sahaba didn't know how to do something, for example, if a Sahabi didn't know how to make salah, what would he do? He would go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran was revealed to him, so he would easily answer him. He would tell him, yes, it's this way or that way, or yes or no, or man'a, or yes, haram, or halal, khalas. It was easy. You didn't need madahib. That's why when somebody says, was there a Abu Bakri madhab and a Umari madhab? Why would you say Abu Bakr? You had Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You would go to him. Tayyib, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this dunya, he died from this life into the barzakhi life. So now you could not go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and ask a question. And even with all the people of bid'ah and Sheikh himself going to the qabr, but they know they cannot ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a question. People say he's alive in his qabr, but what can you ask him? A ruling? You cannot. Because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not alive in this dunya we life. Barzakh life, everybody's alive, but this dunya, kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, he passed. So now when there was a new issue, a tabi'i or a sahabi didn't have, what would they do? So here, different knowledgeable sahaba became the centers of knowledge of different areas. For example, Abdullah ibn Zubayr in Mecca. For example, Abdullah ibn Umar in Medina. For example, Abdullah ibn Abbas in Baghdad later on, and then in Basra and stuff before that. For example, Ibn Mas'ud in Kufa. For example, Bilal ibn Rabah in Sham. So here, these Sahaba, they went out to these areas and they became the imma of those areas. So if you had khilaf, you would usually go to that Sahabi and ask them. Now, they didn't ask them everything, because it's not like, for example, you brothers, alhamdulillah, have been sitting in my durus, but I'm sure there's many fiqh issues that have never even come up, many tafsir issues, many. So don't think just because somebody lived in Kufa, it means everything they took was from Abdullah bin Mas'ud. It's not true. You have to prove it. But this became the way. Now when the Sahaba passed away, now you don't have access, because Sahaba, they saw the wahi, they being revealed to the Prophet, they had access. Now they don't. So now a problem came to be, what will we do? A new issue comes up. Somebody comes in, is it halal for me to do this or do that? Or like the question we were reading earlier, something comes up, it's new. You may not have a clear ayah of Quran or a hadith to answer it. And remember, at this time, there was no Bukhari, he was not born yet, there was no Muslim, there was no Abu Dawud, or Tirmidhi. So these ahadith that got collected from around the Muslim world were not put together yet. So in one city like Basra, they may have some ahadith, but that's all they have. They may not know about the ahadith that the Sahabi like Mu'adh ibn Jabal or others had taught people in Yemen, or Amr ibn al-As in Misr, right? So this means all of that majmu'ah was not collected yet. So questions would come up. So here two major madhahib began. Two major paths. But what was the goal? To get to the sunnah. And all of them emphasize that, look, if you get the sahih sunnah, then leave the madhab. Like we're right now on the way to Medina. Alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we get to Medina, if I tell you guys, we got to Medina, this is what we wanted to, this was the goal, we're just going to turn around and go back to Mecca. We won't get down in Mecca either. We'll just keep going back and forth because I love this road. This road is a great road. it's a beautiful road. Look how nicely it's wide and well made. You're going to be like, Uthman lost it. I mean, it's a nice road, but the point is to get to Medina, not just to be on the road all the time. Remember that simile later, inshallah. I'll explain why it's important to understand. So this madhab was a path to get to the Sunnah. So one madhab developed, which was called the madhab of the Ahlul Hadith. Not the group, but this is what was known originally. And this was the people of Medina. Imam Malik was one of the Imam al-Zuhri before him, that they said, look, if we have a question, we go back to the Hadith and we try to find it. Now, some of the people in Medina, they said, look, what if we don't find a Hadith? So Imam Malik, his madhab was that if there is something clear in the Quran, we accept it. If something is clear in Sahih Hadith, we accept it. If something is proven from the Sahaba, we accept it. But if we don't, or if we don't understand what's stronger, then we look at the action of the people of Medina. Amal Ahlul Medina. Tayyib, why? Imam Malik said, that's a good point. He said, look, who were the last people to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? People of Medina. Where is the greatest majmu'ah of Sahaba? In Medina. So if something was nasikh and mansukh, who would know it best? The people of Medina. So they would be upon the last of what the Prophet ﷺ was upon. So they said, it's a very good idea. Tayyib, but now this is in Medina. They could go out and talk to the people and find out. But in other cities like Kufa, Imam Abu Hanifa, Ibrahim al-Nakhai and others, they said, we can't go to Medina every time we have a question. We have to come with a different way. So they said, okay, let's do this. Make a surah. We will get somebody who's good in hadith, we'll get somebody who's good in fiqh, we'll get somebody in tafsir and lugha, and we'll put ashab together, and we'll throw around questions, we'll throw around scenarios, and we'll come up with an answer by discussing and debating and philosophizing and all of that. So this became known as ashab al-rai, the people of opinion, because they wanted to come up with opinions on issues and be proactive and these kinds of things. But these two schools developed. Abu Hanifa, he said, إذا جاء الحديث من النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام على رأسي وعيني. إذا جاء القول الصحابي على رأسي والعين. وإذا جاء القول التابعي فهم رجال ونحن رجال. Beautiful. He said, Abu Hanifa, that if a hadith comes from Rasulullah ﷺ, like a Sahih hadith, we accept it on our eyes and head. If a saying of a Sahabi comes, we accept it. But if a saying of a Tabi'i, then they are men and we are men. I mean, we make mistakes. Imam Malik said that everybody's call is rejected and accepted except Sahib Hadal Qabr, except the companion of this Qabr, Yani Nabi alayhi salam. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad, in different wording, all of them said, Ashal Hadith Madhab. The strongest hadith is my madhab. If you want to know what is the madhab of Hanifa, according to him himself, the strongest hadith on a subject, that's his madhab. That's what he said. So the point wasn't the madhab. The point was the goal. The madhab was just a path to get there. Now you had a Shafi'i, Imam al-Shafi'i. He came and he studied from Imam Malik directly. And he took from the ilm of Malik. Imam Malik, he learned hadith, he read Muwatta, he read it out, memorized it and read it to him. So he understood the madhab of the people of Medina. And he studied from the students of Abu Hanifa. So he understood the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa and the madhab of Ashab al-Rai. Now Imam al-Shafi'i, amazing scholar, he saw the goods that he found in Medina, and he found the good in the Ashab al-Rai, and he said, both have good, but they are not put together in a way that is comprehensive. So he then worked on the first book in Usul al-Fiqh. The first book ever in Usul al-Fiqh is called Al-Risala by Shafi'i, and we still have it today, alhamdulillah. It has not been lost. So he put together a whole system or a process on how to derive fiqh, how to take different khilaf between ulama and look at dalail and things. So he further developed those two school thoughts. And then he had a student, his name was Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who took from ulama who studied under Imam Malik, and he took from Shafi'i directly, and he took from the people of Ashab al-Rai, and he studied from some of the students of Abu Hanifa himself, and he took all of this and he said, "This is wonderful, but we need to work on going back to finding the ahadith and sticking to them." And what he did is he did the greatest service for the work of hadith by putting together the biggest collection of original hadith ever put together, the Muslim Imam Ahmad. And that's why the later A'imma like Abu Bukhari and others, they all took from him. So in his time, Bukhari and Muslim and Abu Dawud and Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, they went and collected all these ahadith. So Imam Ahmad, he developed his usul as well. But then he said, look, according to what those A'imma had said, we need to go back to the proof. When we find the proof, then we leave everything else. Now you had each madhab of the earlier madhab, like the one of Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa, break into two subsects. One that said, look, the point of the madhab was to accept the proof and find the sunnah. So even if you find it outside the madhab, but that's the goal, take it. Right? And others that said, no, the madhab is a point in itself. And we have those people today. So here what you have to do, you have to go back to the goal. The goal is the sunnah. So you cannot just be like, okay, I'm going to defend the madhab no matter what. Even if I find a better hadith or a stronger hadith or a clearer hadith, I'm going to find a way to defend. This is like saying we go on this road to Medina, but we don't go to Medina itself. We don't go to the goal to find the sunnah. We love the road, so we just keep going back and forth. And that's the people of ta'assub and taqleed that are stuck on this road. Now, other people, they will be sitting in Mecca and they say, we want to be in Medina, but we don't want to take a road. How are you going to get to Medina then, right? You know, we just want to snap our fingers and be there. And this is wrong. And that's what we find in the people who do totally reject madhaib altogether. And everybody like, I follow Quran and Sunnah. We all follow Quran and Sunnah, mashallah. But if you find two ahadith that seemingly are contradictory, how will you know how to see rajih in this? If you find a qala of a sahabi khalif to a marfu' hadith, how will you deal with this? What if he's the rawi of the hadith? What if you understood it better, you know? So this takes a madhab. Tayyib. So now, if we look at this, how do you get a madhab? First off, are you born into it? Meaning if you're Afghani, you're Hanafi, and if you're Malaysian, you're Shafi'i? No, it has nothing to do with mirath. You don't give madhab in your inheritance. It has nothing to do with your DNA. It has to do with what is available to you and what is stronger and clearer to you. Does this mean if somebody follows a madhab, they cannot study with somebody else? No. Did the earlier A'imma follow madhab, or did they say we're Athari and Salafi? We all follow the Salaf al-Salihin, this is what we do. We all follow the Athar of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and Sahaba, yes. But the earlier A'imma, they understood the way to develop. And that's why you will find in the end of their names, madhab. Ibn Rajab, al-Hanbali. Tayyib. Now you see Ibn Abul Iz, al-Hanafi. Ibn Abdul Barr, al-Maliki. Qadi al-Iyad, al-Maliki. You will find, like Ibn Hajar and al-Nawawi, those, Shafi'i. You will find Ibn Qudama and them, al-Hanbali. So, even Ibn Taymiyyah, Taqiyuddin Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam, if you read his Sharh of Umdatul Fiqh, he will say in our madhab. He was Hanbali, he was clear about it. People know he wasn't Hanbali. Read his own books. Even Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, he will say, Qala ashabuna, yani the Hanabila. So, all of those ulama, they developed through madhab. But did they restrict themselves? No. Did they say that, okay, if my madhab doesn't have it, I'm not accepting it? No. Like An-Nawawi and Rafi'i and others, when they found a hadith to be clear out the madhab, they took the hadith. This is the correct way. But now what about us today? Does this mean that each one of us is a mujtahid? Do we have to just follow the madhab that I'm Pakistani, I'm Hanafi, and if you're Jordanian, you're Shafi'i? No. First thing, what do you have available to you? If you have a strong scholar of the sunnah available to you, then your madhab is the madhab of that scholar. Aam people have no madhab. For example, if I ask this brother Ahmad here, what madhab are you? He will probably not even know what a madhab is. If he does, he may say I'm Shafi'i because he's Egyptian. But if I tell him, what is the difference between the Shafi'i madhab and the Hanafi madhab or the Hanbali, he will not know. What is the usul of Shafi'i that made you Shafi'i, he will not know. What is rajih in the usul? If I even ask him, name me 5 books of the Shafi'i madhab, he will not know. So how is he Shafi'i? I mean, if our brother Muhammad tells us tomorrow he plays for the Lakers, right? He can say that all he wants. He can go to Walmart and buy a Lakers jersey, and he can put it on, put the shorts on. He can do all of that, right? But if you're not on the team, if you don't even know who plays on the Lakers, Right? If you don't even know which city the Lakers are from, you're not from the Lakers. You can say whatever you want. Somebody says, I'm Hanafi, you ask them what is Abu Hanifa's name, they don't know. Abu Hanifa, that's his kunya, what's his name? MashaAllah, you can be Hanafi. So now, this, I just said you could, I don't see you are. So, here, these people don't know madhab. They say you can't make masha on socks in the Hanafi madhab. Go get al-Hidayah, go get the books of the Hanafi madhab, I'll show it to you. That means they don't know the Hanafi madhab, they follow their scholars. Whatever scholar that they accept from, they are on that madhab, whatever he may be. The Aam person should be like this. The Aam person gets a scholar, they follow, they have nothing to do with madhab. They follow their scholar. Right? Now, what about students of ilm? Tullab ilm, if they are beginning their journey in knowledge, they should study through a madhab. This is the way it has been since the time of the Salaf till our time. Like Sheikh ibn Uthman, Sheikh ibn Baz, Sheikh ibn Jibreel, Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan. Look at all their books. All of them recommended this. They said, good, if you're beginning your ilm, start with a madhab. Now when you go further, you can, once you're well qualified in it, then you can look at other madhahib and their proofs. But this is when you're at a level where you can understand ijtihad, you can understand rajih and marjuh and things, means you've passed usul al-fiqh and things like this, then you can start delving into that, right? How will you choose a madhab? You will not go in madhab shopping, You'll not go on Amazon and check for a madhab. Whatever shaykh you study with, whatever madhab he teaches you, this is your madhab. Tayyib. Now, what about if you're following a madhab, but there is a clear daleel against the madhab? Follow the daleel. Because that was the point of the madhab. Right? Follow the daleel. But you can take it to your teacher and say, hey, we found this daleel, what do you think? And he may be able to explain it to you in a way. But if he cannot, if he tells you no, but our madhab is different, you follow that. This, our loyalty should be Quran and Sunnah above everything else. But when you are developing, you need to develop through a madhab. Otherwise, what happens? It is as if, for example, if you take a martial arts routine, right? Now the most effective martial arts is MMA. You're going to mix it up. But if you say, I'm going to start today and I'm going to learn karate and boxing and ninjutsu and Muay Thai and wrestling and so many other than jitsu and all of that in one day. I'm going to learn all of it. I'm going to practice my punch a little bit, and then before I even go to anything else, I'm going to start trying to grapple, and before I can even do that, I'm going to do a takedown. You're not going to learn anything. You have to learn a discipline. And when you get good at it, then you start mixing other disciplines into it. Right? And this is the thing with madahib. You have to learn an usul first, and then you start mixing, otherwise you get confused. Otherwise you see now some of the graduates from some of the Islamic universities are just confused. They have no base. They'll use one usul in one place and leave it in another. I'll give you an example. Very ilmi example. I know this is long, but inshallah we got a long time. One of the A'immah, one of the great scholars of our time, he said, and I won't mention the name, that holding the hand after ruku is bid'ah. And he said, why? He said, because there's no sarih dalil on this, and dalail are. One of the great A'immah of our time, I will mention his name, Sheikh ibn Uthman, he wrote about this, and he said, look, our brother made a mistake. He said, because why did he consider it to be bid'ah? Because there's no sarih dalil. Okay. Because where do you put your hands between the two sujood? Right? It's on your thighs. He said, where is the sarih dalil that between the two sujood, how you put your hands? Some of the students of the other shaykh, he took this to them. And that shaykh, he answered, he said, because the hadith mentions إِذَا جَلَسَ, whenever Rasulullah was sitting. And because this is a sitting, it's included. The Sheikh ibn Uthman said, how can you use that usul here and make tark of it إِذَا قَامَ? Tashbih has to be used in both then. And this is a mistake from not understanding the usul of madhahib and usul of fiqh correctly. You use it here, you don't use it there. Right? If you're going to use it here, you have to use it there. And that's why you study through a madhab and through that development to understand that. Now once you have understood that and you have it well and you got usul al-fiqh down, you understand dalail, you understand ta'adid and tarjih and aqwa al-qawl and this and that, then you can start looking at the other madhahib and you bring them in. The Sheikh ibn Uthman, his kitab al-ilm, he says, because I feel like crying and laughing at the same time nowadays. Because you find everybody has a fatwa and then they're amazed by it. He said, I thought about collecting them, but I don't want to be from the person who looks for people's mistakes. He said, today a man will say that Ahmad was a man and I was a man. يعني I am a man. Ahmad bin Hanbal. But Sheikh ibn Uthman says Ahmad and you are not the same. He memorized a million hadith. How many did you memorize? So this is the thing, right? So this is why he said that in our Mamlaka, in Saudi, they used to stick to Zad al-Mustaqniya, Rawat al-Murbi, and everything was said. And now things have become chaotic and it's getting worse and worse. Now you go to Jami al-Madina, in Usul al-Fiqh they tell you Rawat al-Nadir, which is Ibn Qudamah, it's Hanbali. But in Fiqh they have Bidayat al-Mujtahideen of Ibn Rushd, which was a Ashari, Maliki, mixed up guy. So now the students are learning something different in Usul and something else in Fiqh and the tarjih of their teacher. So when they get out, they cannot use them correctly. That's why they're not able to utilize the Usul that they're learning. So what we suggest to the students is first you find a good teacher, and then whatever he teaches you in the light of the Quran and Sunnah, this is your madhab. Secondly, if you're going to compare madhab, then I will put this challenge out, inshallah we'll put it on YouTube and everything. That out of all of the madhab, if you bring dalail for aqwal, I will see that the strongest madhab dalilan is the Hanabila. And this is not my call. Open up the Muqaddimah of Irwa al-Ghalil, the Takhrij of Manar al-Sabil by Sheikh Albani. He said, أقرب الناس إلى السنة والحنابلة. Open up the books of Sheikh Ibn Abad, or Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin, or Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin, Sheikh Ibn Jibreen, or Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan. You will find all of them gave the same tarjih. In fact, if you go to the past, Abdul Qadir Jalani, he was Shafi'i, he became Hanbali. Abu Ya'la al-Hanafi, the famous Hanbali scholar, he used to be Hanafi, he became Hanbali. Ibn Badran al-Damishqi, here from Sham, about 100 some odd years ago, he was a very strong Shafi'i scholar, he became Hanbali, he wrote a book called Muqaddimah al-Madhab Ahmad bin Hanbal, and if you read it, there's a chapter on why he switched, and he says, I looked at the dalail, and he says, no doubt in my mind that the Hanabala were the strictest to sticking to the proof. Having said all of that, if you bring me a clear dalil, and it's against anything that I've been taught, but it's a clear sahih dalil, wallahi I'm willing to leave whatever I was taught to accept it. But for the students of knowledge, we don't want you to make this into a buffet, where you go and take from this madhab and take from that madhab, and you like this call and this is easier for you, especially when you don't understand what is rajih. You don't understand how to say something to be stronger. Hadith in Bukhari. Just because in Bukhari doesn't mean it's stronger. It could still be manzooq. A hadith. You have to understand those usul, and then you have to bring the proof. And Islam is not like ambiguous. It's clear. So, if you want to know what's strong, we can always end up finding it. But you have to sit down, you have to talk, you have to discuss, you have to look up the books, and you will find it. So for the students, begin with the teacher. When you get further, take a madhab in a way to be a path to get you somewhere. When you get further, then look at the proofs, leave the madhab stuff alone. If you're a mufti, you cannot be a muqallid. This is an oxymoron. A muqallid means taqleed. What does taqleed? No. Qalada, taqleed, blindly following. You know where taqleed comes from? When they used to put the what do you call it? What do you call it in English? As a cow, when you plow the fields. When you plow the fields, you put that bridle on the animal, and then you make him go the way you want. It's called a bridle, right? Where it bounds the animal, then you can pull it any way you want. So that's what taqleed comes from, where you can just be pulled anyway, right? So muqallid is somebody who, in essence, you tell him is this way, he has to accept it. But if you're a mufti, the definition is you're going to find proofs and give a fatwa. Okay? Now you may have to make taqleed sometimes when you don't have proofs or something as a mufti, even as Ibn Taymiyyah has pointed out. But in essence, a mufti is the opposite of a muqallid. So it's like saying that you have great eyesight and you're blind. Which one is it, right? So when is there taqleed? Let's say your grandfather, for example. Had you studied Sharia? Or your father? Your father, for example. عالم؟ كان هو عالم؟ طيب والدك ما عمله؟ Najjar, mashallah. So now, if somebody is, for example, a carpenter, they've never studied Sharia. Now they want to know if they ate camel's meat, does it invalidate their wudu? What should they do? They go to Bukhari, they get to Muslim, and they go to, no, they can't. So you go to an alim and you say, Sheikh, I ate camel's meat, does it break my wudu? And he tells you, the hadith on this is it. But now you're not going to say, oh Sheikh, what about the Shafi'i call? What do you think about the rajih of the mansukh of this? Because you don't know. You're a najjar. Go. Do what you have to do. Be a blacksmith or stone maker or whatever, and be a muqallid of a good shaykh. Even then, of a good shaykh who brings you dalai. That's it. You're good. But now, if you are a talib ilm, if you are studying, then you should ask your teacher, hey, what about this other hadith? What about this? And not to challenge him, but he will explain it to you, and then you follow what is right from your teacher's aqwal. Now, if you are a Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, now here, you are the mufti of a whole country. It's your responsibility in front of Allah. If a question comes, you're going to look at the different books, you're going to look at the different proofs, and then give the fatwa on what is aqrab ila al-kitab wa sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding.
I have a question. Ara